G'day, it's Hayley Carr here, coming to you from my little riverside cottage in Australia. Welcome to the Super Freak podcast. I run a boutique coaching agency from right here, my farmhouse, with clients all over the globe. And in this show, I'm welcoming you into my world, into my home, and sharing the powerful philosophies, mindsets, and insights that make super talented, super freaky people able to create crazy good results sustainably, on repeat, and almost effortlessly, so you can do it too. These riffs are inspired by conversations with the incredible people that I coach every single day, which I've been doing for over a decade, and from my own experience as a world champion martial artist. I love destroying big ideas until they're teeny tiny bits of genius that you can take with you, understand, remember, repeat, and use to create miraculous results with ease. You'll learn here about what I call yin-style leadership, keeping the spark and the polarity in your relationships, financial empowerment, slowing down to achieve more, and regenerative, sustainable success in any kind of high-pressure, high-achievement-focused circumstances. So hold on to your hats, folks, and listen out for your insight of the day. I'm going to show you how to become immune to fear, failure, and feeble thinking. And before you know it, you'll be chasing down with ease and enthusiasm what you may have thought was impossible just yesterday. Let's dive into today's episode. G'day, welcome back to another episode of Super Freak. Look, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but the things that are going on in your life right now that you feel like are distracting you from achieving what it is that you want, that you're working towards, they are not distractions, my friend. They are diamonds. They are the things that are begging for our attention, begging for our presence, begging for us to look in at them and say, hey, I see you, and what's going on here? Maybe there's some medicine in here for me. So when I coach in one of my programs, which is called the Fierce Salon, one of the first things I tell everyone is, you know what? I know that we've created these massive goals that we want to create over 6 months. What I know for sure after running that program for 7 years now is that inevitably the proverbial will hit the fan at some point. You know, things go wrong. Sometimes we will invest in a program or we'll set a goal, you know, and we love having that sense of focus and direction and that container to work within something. But where we can get really knocked off our perch is when the proverbial hits the fan, like something goes wrong, something doesn't go to plan, we get distracted, someone gets sick, we get sick, business doesn't work, we move house, we go traveling, like something, right? Things go on with our kids, whatever it might be. We have distractions, things get in the way, and we think, oh no, like I'm trying to work on this thing and this other thing is getting in the way and it's so distracting for me and it's getting in the way of me having my goals. And I really just want you to know that this is the work, like this is part of it. There are going to inevitably be distractions. It's called life. That's your life. That's not a distraction. And the more we can embrace this and make it part of the curriculum of you creating what it is that you want, the more likely you are to actually come out the other end of achieving your goals better than when you started. So I used to make this mistake of setting a goal and putting the whole rest of my life on hold and ignoring any red flags, ignoring things that were going on, casting uncomfortable feelings to the side, you know, like ignoring my relationship, all of it, for the sake of being able to achieve my goal and hoping to high holy heavens that I would be able to just make it happen. And often what happened was I would achieve the goal, but I'd be clawing myself over the finish line at the end because I'd done it in a completely unsustainable way. I needed a huge nap afterwards. I needed a break. I'd pushed myself too hard and I'd ignored other parts of my life, which meant that I couldn't keep focusing on what I'd been focusing on because I needed to then go and pay attention to the other parts of my life. So while it sounds really glamorous, I think, to kind of focus and streamline and not get distracted, which I am a big believer in not getting distracted, I also think that sometimes what we think is a distraction is not a distraction. It's part of the curriculum. So I'll give you an example. I have clients who, for example, will travel, like they're traveling full time while they're working with me. And some of the distractions can be well, I run out of internet, or, I've moved to another country and I have this whole thing going on and I'm setting up a whole new home and base for myself. And, it can take me away from being able to create the thing that I want to create by the end of this time together. And I love when things like this happen, because how we often show up and respond to challenges and unexpected things that arise is often how we're showing up in what we aimed to be working on with me anyway. So sometimes it's a case of, another client that I have who's traveling full time, it's not about moving different countries, but it's about recognizing how difficult it is to get work done when you are traveling full time and we don't have the private space that we need. It's super fun to realize that and go, there's this whole other world of me taking space for myself that I can apply to my goals with what I'm creating elsewhere as well. I know for me, there's been so many times in my life where I've gotten really distracted and felt like and believed that I was completely off track because I got sick or something happened. This is why I love 90 days as a beautiful amount of time to create within, because 90 days is 1% of 25 years. I love that. But also 90 days is long enough for us to completely quit and forget what we were doing and fall off the bandwagon and all that jazz, and get back on track and come back. You can completely make a comeback and transform your life in 90 days. It's long enough to get those results. It's also short enough for you to see enough results that you can pivot, but also short enough for you to pivot in time. So it's not just like you've waited a year, and a lot of time has passed. I love that factor of 90 days. But my point is, within a period of 90 days, we have so many distractions, and we can start to get frustrated and believe that these distractions are pulling us off course from our goals. My belief, my practice, my curriculum, my whole business is built off of the fact that that is not true, that every single thing that comes up along the road is part of this curriculum. And if you can learn to be with life alongside achieving big things, you will create those big things sustainably, and your life will be better off the back of it, because you're not ignoring one single aspect. And the thing that we can get really caught up in, unfortunately, is believing that we need to kind of cast everything to the side, push it to the side, because we don't have time to deal with all of the other things. And the invitation is, of course, to slow down in order to speed up when there are other things coming up. It's my belief, it's the practice that I have in neuro-linguistic programming as well, is when something is arising to the surface, there's a sudden surge of anger or some kind of really interesting idea about what's possible for you that's getting in the way, or there's some kind of self-sabotage or inner conflict, or there's just like a wave of paranoia that's coming up, or fear or whatever. I believe that it is coming up. The subconscious is delivering it to the conscious mind, the conscious experience, because you feel safe and ready to deal with it. It feels ready to be integrated, ready to be processed, ready to be healed. And it's not a time to kind of push it back down and ignore it, even though it might seem super inconvenient. It's the time to actually work with it. It's the same with these interesting things that come up along the way. Life is smooth sailing. We don't see the icebergs unless we're moving ahead and moving along, but we can fully start to perceive that because there is an iceberg, things aren't working and things are getting distracting. And I like to think about it in a completely different way to that. So again, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but if you think that the things that are going on in your life that are challenging, disruptive, distracting, draining are getting in the way of you being able to achieve what you want, please slow down. Please instead pay attention to those things right now, because they may just be the very thing that help you craft a new experience. They may be the very thing that when you pay attention to it, when you take your attention off what you think you need to be paying attention to, and instead you be with what is right now and let that be your curriculum, and you work through that, you might just be able to create what you want faster. You might just be able to create what you want easier. You might just be able to create what you want in a more sustainable and nourishing way than you ever perceived was possible before you began. And that is the magic of being in the moment. That's the magic of coaching. That's the magic of trusting your timing. And that is the magic of honoring the fact that your whole life is happening right now. Your whole life is your curriculum. It is certainly not a distraction from where it is that you want to go. So if you know someone who might just really need to hear this, please send them this podcast. You have my love. You have my permission to let life be your curriculum. And you have my full support to do that. I believe in you, and I believe in us to not worry about things going wrong and just let it be what is and deal with it as it comes up. Slow down, speed up. I'm sending you so much love today. Remember, everything you want is so much closer than you think. So stay curious, stay open, and also stay focused on the knowing that whatever comes up is meant to be here for you today. You can focus on multiple things at once. You can be achieving your goals and dealing with what comes up at the very same time. It is not a distraction. It's the diamonds. Sending love. Thank you so much for being here and listening in with me today. I'm really grateful to be gracing your ears. Of all the things you could be listening to right now, you're right here with me. So thank you. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What was your one insight of the day? How are you going to apply it? Why not tell me in a review? If you know someone who would love this, please do share it with them. It's the best kind of compliment. So you could take a screenshot, you could tag me on Instagram and be that super freak who shares what's working for you with your world. And if you want more, you might like to check out my website, hayleycarr.tv. It's linked in the notes. It's there. You can find out about all the ways we can play even more together. And you can also get a free copy of my book and download a free copy of the Super Freak Self-Coaching Scorecard 2, which a lot of people are having a lot of fun with right now. Remember, everything you want is so much closer than you think. So stay curious, stay open, and say yes. I'll see you soon.